I can talk with my hands a little bit. Hello. I'm back to talk about some of my experiences I've been having. These are some big subjects, and I guess from what you can kind of tell, I kind of like to talk for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then just cut it down into smaller videos. Since I can't really talk about individual experiences without referencing some of the bigger things that are going on at the same time, that seems to be why. Over the last 2 weeks, I did some really intense chakra meditation, chakra, chakra. It seems like I was like, building my light body, and I still am. It's a work in progress. Probably, forever. But it all kind of came together when I realized this process subconsciously within the receiving of the angel wings. And these wings have seemingly enabled me to astral travel and travel in other dimensions that aren't necessarily the astral. I can't always tell what's astral, what's other dimensions, and I've been hesitant before to say, oh, I was astral traveling around in the astral, because there's not exactly like a signpost. This is the astral, you've reached it, so, but anyways, some of the first experiences I had with astral travel are described in my earlier videos as the visions that I was having, and I now know that those were actually astral travel in a way. I guess, yeah. I guess there's different ways, I guess you can do it through dreaming too. The way that I seem to do it is to enter a conscious, thoughtless trance, and I access the dreaming zone of the subconscious mind, the astral, which is kind of, I guess, a cooler name for that. I never really studied the astral travel or was really like super interested or anything. Just kind of like, lucid dreaming. I'm interested, but I'm not I'm not overly attached to having that experience. If it's not going to happen right then or whenever, then okay, it's just not meant to be. It doesn't matter all that much. Some of the earliest astral travels, as you remember, I would be carried by a bird, and I've been carried by other animals too, like a buffalo. And even what I had done what I now know was an astral meditation, guided meditation. So it wasn't my light body. I was actually attaching to somebody else's light body and then going with them. This was before I had my own light body really built up. And I was really, I didn't really know if it was imagination at that time, at that point in my life. This was early last year. But it seems like I don't really need the animals to carry me as much. I guess I can, but one of the recent ones, not recent, one of the ones I had a couple weeks ago, I was being carried by like a hawk or an eagle, and it just kind of like let me go. And it was just like, you got wings, fly. I'm like, okay, I guess so. I guess I do have wings. And then there I went, and I went through. I don't really remember as much of the details on that one. I don't always remember the details, and so much of the content isn't all that necessary to be explained, and a lot of it I don't have the ability to explain. A lot of stuff just it's too much for the English language to be able to construct together into something that, trying to form a multi-dimensional picture out of words when words are really not very super dimensional. It's kind of tough, but I try. I do what I try. I do what I can. I do what I can. I do what I can. Ha. Early last month, I had been communicating with Angelic Consciousness, and I'd asked their names, and the answer came back Andrew, Damien, and Throson. I didn't really get I'm like, Throson? That's kind of that doesn't sound really, I don't know, angelic or whatever. And I got the spelling, which was actually like through sun, THROUGHSUN. And they repeated that to me, and were like, through sun. Okay, well that made sense, I guess. Whatever name an angel wants to have, I guess they can have, was my thought at that time. But then I had another experience earlier this month, so about a month in between those experiences, and I followed this angel, and it took me literally through the sun as like a portal, and then on the other side there were like these steps, and we're jumping from the steps. And when I was looking at them, it looked like they were like squashed worlds, like a planet squashed, but it was like rectangular blocks, like steps, but they're hanging there separate in space. So it looked like looking from an outward dimension, looking into a more dense reality. So I was actually in a lighter density, looking at a very dense and compact world. And then we went to another planet. I'm getting my astral travel experiences mixed up. I don't write that much because the English language thing again kind of can be a hindrance. But I'm gonna need to start some kind of log on this, and I don't know, maybe I can do video log, but we'll see. Or if it matters that much. It probably doesn't matter that much. The content is really not all that super important, and that's kind of counterintuitive because that seems like what our lives are, but that's an illusion. Our lives are not that. Our lives are not content. They just are. We just are. And everything we choose to build onto ourselves, stories and what have you about what happened, and all that stuff is really just fiction. So So that's even you know, counterintuitive. Why do I even make videos? I don't know. Why should I make a video? But I want to transfer my some of my knowledge to people that might be wanting it. And oh, but anyways, I had more, and this kind of led into the thinking about why is content important. It's not all that important. It led into the thinking about the names thing, and I was really kind of inspired. There was this one post in a spiritual forum or metaphysical forum or whatever you want to call it, where they were talking about invoking angels, and they would say how you're supposed to say certain angels' names in a certain order and a certain amount of times, and if you didn't say their names right, they wouldn't come. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, really? And it didn't make sense to me. So I asked whenever I felt like I was near an angelic consciousness, which is most of the time. So it was pretty soon. But I asked, I'm like, you know, what is the thing? What is it about names? And the answer I got back is that names are a human thing. Humans name things, and we do it to supply identity to the different parts of what is perceived as the world. But it's a projection. This is my perception. That doesn't necessarily mean it's right. I'm not saying I am right. I don't say that, but it's just a perception that it is a human thing to name things. Within the I am being, everything is one thing, so there really is only one name. And I'm not saying it's bad to name names either. I'm not saying that. It's just that it's, to my knowledge, it's not as important at all, really, to the angels that they have names as it is to human beings, for the angels to have names, and for human beings to have names, and pets to have names, and everything gets a name. We name the stars. They have like the little parts of the moon that are named, etc. No, animals don't have names. If you went out into nature and if you ask an animal what its name is or whatever, you know, if you're animal telepathic, you probably won't get an answer. They'd be like, "What's a name? What are you talking about?" But when we keep animals as pets, we give them names. Even if you only have one of that kind of animal, it still has to have a name to separate itself from the other animals that aren't there that look like it. I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me, having reversed my thinking on it a bit. Oh, and another of the visions that I had surrounding the idea of naming names was I saw that there would be an angel, but it would be the size of the earth, and this angel would divide itself up then into smaller sized angels that are more digestible to the human mind. I guess we're consumers, right? So digestible to the human mind,